Thank you very much, Mr. Montoot. Good night, Flambeau family. Good night, St. Lucia. It is indeed a pleasure to be here at Flambeau Live once again. And as we seek to address you on critical issues that confront our country, our lives, our families, we want you to understand that this is not just political talk. Nobody has been parler politics this year. We are appealing to St. Lucians to evaluate the information that you are receiving. And what is not good, reject it. Because I want you to understand, today the common phrase in St. Lucia is all political parties are the same. I said that is a lie. You can tell me Flambeau is worse than Labour or better than Labour, but all political parties are not the same. Now you know when this becomes the talk, when Labour Party is in office and they are not performing, then those who want to defend them jump on and say, "Yo tout se même." Well, yo tout pas même. Because if you go to every constituency represented by the United Workers' Party over the years, you can see the difference in the performance and the work by the UWP representatives. And I am willing for any Labourite to choose any constituency of their choice that have been represented by a United Workers' Party candidate, and let us measure our performance against a Labour Party candidate, whether it be for 5 years or 10 years. I am willing in Castries Southeast to measure 5 years against 15 years of Labour. And I can show you that United Workers' Party did more in 5 years in Castries Southeast under the leadership of Honorable Alan Michael Chasney than Labour did for 15 years under Philip J. Pierre and Kenny Anthony. So how dare people come and say, "Yo tout se même"? All of us are not the same. I know UWP is better for St. Lucia than the St. Lucia Labour Party. So, I know my political leader, Honorable Alan Michael Chasney, is by far a much better prime minister than Philip J. Pierre can ever be in 10 lifetimes. The evidence speaks for itself. The performance speaks for itself. You see, we get to a point in our country when we are hopeless, when even the supporters of the Labour Party cannot find something to defend the performance of their government. And so they resort to try to put everybody in the same bracket. I listen to the talk shows when I get the time. And some prominent callers try to say that too, but I don't agree with them. Sir John was a better prime minister than any prime minister in the St. Lucia Labour Party. as bad as Stephenson King was, he was a better prime minister than any prime minister in the St. Lucia Labour Party. And the man himself, the Honorable Alan Shasney, stood head and shoulders above every prime minister prior to Sir John and after Sir John. The only exception is Sir John. So, people of St. Lucia, the facts are there for us to see. And you heard from Spider the handling of COVID. COVID was something that hit the world. Maybe many people who are older than I am have never experienced anything like COVID where the entire world was on lockdown. And there was no model. There was no formula. There were no vaccines. There was nothing in place except we had a prime minister in St. Lucia who put the lives of the people of St. Lucia above the political decisions of winning an election. And we paid a heavy price. But you know what? I am proud of what my leader did, because there is nothing that can replace the life of an individual that has been lost. And when in America, the great United States of America, with all its advancements, could not handle the number of deaths that they had, people were packed into containers, refrigerated containers. Our prime minister made the sensible decisions in St. Lucia. And in the peak of COVID, with no vaccine, under his leadership, there were just about 80 deaths in St. Lucia. After the vaccine and the Labour Party came into office, there were over 400 deaths. You want to tell me all prime ministers are the same, all politicians are the same, all governments are the same? I say no. And we, as United Workers' Party supporters, and those who may not be affiliated to a political party, you have to put where right is. Put right where right is. And we know that Alan Michael Shasney deserves to be the next Prime Minister of St. Lucia. To put this country back on the right path. You know, the crime situation is a scary situation. I have said to persons, you know, there was a time when people would end up in an altercation and somebody may have lost their life. There was a time when domestic violence played a major role in bringing up the homicide rate in this country. But today, we are seeing a different level of criminal activity in this country. You don't have to have problems with anybody. You just have to be at a certain place at a certain time, and your life is at risk. And what do we have? We have a government. Now, I will tell you, they have tried things. You have tried by. But you see, in a country like ours, It cannot be trial and error. You cannot learn on the job. There must be a clear plan. Let me tell you how bad it is. They took away the head man at Bodiley Correctional Facility and they put him in charge of the police, and Bodiley is headless. Ask them, who is in charge of Bodiley? So you take the man who was in charge of Bodiley, you take him to send people to Bodiley, but it's like going in and going out because there's nobody in charge. So you see what I'm saying to you about a clueless government? Ring the bell toujours kadu, gouvernement sans plan. They have no plans. Because any sensible person would know that you need a well-rounded system that includes the judiciary, the law enforcement, and the incarceration of those who should be behind bars. You mean to tell me all the people in St. Lucia? And I have no problems with that gentleman being the commissioner of police. But you mean you could not find somebody else to replace him while he is gone? So how many prisoner escapes you have heard recently? Huh? So think of it for a moment. This other fella took a holiday. He went for 6 hours and then he just went and reported himself to the Marsham police station. So he just took 6 hours off from Bodiley. He went about his business and then. And somebody said, well, he said he wanted to see Julia Alfred. So he went and see her. You understand? Is that, now that sounds comical, doesn't it? But that is what passes for governance in this country today. So are we really serious as a people? Because let me say to you, it's been proven. No country, no church, no club, no organization can rise above its leader. The leader is the benchmark. So which set of St. Lucians that put Philip J. Pierre in charge of St. Lucia and expect St. Lucia to rise to a higher level than Philip J. Pierre? You see what our problem is in this country? And I'm saying, I don't want to make fun of the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister makes enough fun of himself. He doesn't need my help. But I'm simply saying that these are serious issues that confront us. Nobody in the Caribbean. Imagine St. Lucia used to be the lead country in the OECS. Now we are the laughing stock of the OECS, the Caribbean, and the rest of the world. We have a prime minister. There are no words in the present English dictionary to describe him. I'm still trying to find words in patois to describe the prime minister, and I have not found the appropriate words. Now, I want to say to us, I'm not picking on the prime minister. I want you who are intelligent, you who say you went to school. Some of you are university graduates. We talk about young people. We talk about the future generations. As a young person, you really think that Philip J. Pierre can take this country somewhere that you can be proud of? You really think that Philip J. Pierre has the capacity or the capability of taking this country to another level? I said it to you before the election. If you want to know what St. Lucia would look like under Philip J. Pierre, look at Marsha after 25 years of representation. And you didn't believe me. But now you are seeing. And I will tell you, Mr. Leader of the Opposition, I want you to donate 2 buckets of paint to the Prime Minister of St. Lucia so that his office in Marsha does not look like a derelict building. There must be some class associate. Moi, je passe Marsha tous les jours, ça. Sou e pa de building la. Zeb ka levan le fence la. Wala, la dan leta. That is not looking like a place befitting of a prime minister to meet constituents. And so I'm calling on my leader to donate 2 buckets of paint. Let them paint the wall. Because look here, this is our country, you know. People, you think it's because Philip J. Pierre cannot afford 2 buckets of paint? The man is just nasty. The man is just classless. And if they don't have time, change it. By tomorrow, I invite the media to go and take some photos of what I am saying and prove that what I'm saying is not true. Si yo pa penti we yo swear. You understand? So I am saying to us, you surprised that the whole of Castries has become like a little ghetto? Because you have a representative and all he can build is little plywood things. The man going Dennery and build houses. It's little plywood thing. They went into Castries Southeast and built a house for somebody, a little plywood thing. They went in the middle of Castries, little plywood things. And now they went and they said they're building something for the vendors. And it's little plywood things alone the man can build. Now, I want you to observe the difference. I heard somebody call Newspin and said, look here, we need to give the people an upgraded place for them to sell their produce. Under the leadership of the Honorable Alan Chasney, a world-class market was built. And you can go there and see the stalls that was built for the vendors. That their produce and the goods they were selling should not be on the ground. That's a man of class. That's a man who thinks highly of the people that he represents. So, those who want to call talk shows and say all politicians are the same, I want to say my political leader is a politician at a different level and wants a higher standard for St. Lucia. Now, some people may not like him, but I've always told you, you know why Labour does not like him? Not because of the color of his skin, not because of his complexion. It's because of his success. It's his success that affects them. Because I know they like white people. Don't mind them. Don't mind them. Who is GPH? Who did they give our pots to? And you know how much money is involved in that? 400 million US dollars. So you giving people you don't like 400 million US dollars? Huh? So they're making noise about the Honorable Alan Chasney to distract you, while at the same time they are taking all your valuable assets and giving it to the same people they tell you they don't like. You see, do not allow labor to fool you. Who they selling the passports to? You think it's in Africa they selling the passports? Tell me how many CIP passports they selling in Africa. Huh? Yes. And the Hall of Justice. Emil Elias. Is he black like skinny? Huh? Who is Emil Elias? Huh? Oh. But they can give, and it's not just a 3D, it's a white 3D. You understand? But they can give him a contract without tender to build the halls of justice for over $150 million. And that will become the highest rent government is paying for any building in the history of this country. But they want to distract St. Lucians. They want to make you believe that is a problem with the pigmentation of somebody's skin. Don't be fooled, St. Lucia. And young people, we are more intelligent than that. You have gone to school. You have learned. It's a global community. Information is readily available on the internet. If what I'm saying there, go and Google who is Emily Elias. And go and Google who are the owners of GPH. Now, yes, to build 2 little houses in Rock Hall, you couldn't find one local St. Lucian to give to sell CIP. Huh? Now they said they were building a high-rise. They promised us a high-rise building in cul-de-sac and a smart city. Y'all forget Philip J. Pierre promised a smart city in cul-de-sac? I still waiting for the smart city and the high-rise. But let's go to what they are doing, because I want you to understand. There is a deliberate ploy by the Labour Party to mislead you. And some Flambeaus are falling for the tricks of Labour. I don't support Alan Chasney because of the color of his skin. If he was a blockhead like Pierre, he could be white like snow, I would not support him. Okay? So I want you to understand that I support individuals based on the quality of the person and what they bring to the table. And I am satisfied that the Honorable Alan Michael Chasney is a better man to lead St. Lucia than anybody else in the United Workers' Party today, including Guy Joseph. Alan Chasney is by far a better prime minister than Guy Joseph or my colleague Dominic Fede, the deputy leaders, can be. Because you know why? He has proven that in the worst of times and in the best of times, he can handle himself. And so, St. Lucia, this is not just political talk. This is the future of this country. This is what our new or young generation will inherit, what we have left behind. And I want to know that when my time is gone, that history can look back and say the contribution they made to this country was good. My mother and my father is gone. But I am proud that they were consistent in supporting the United Workers' Party and Sir John Compton that built the foundation of this country. And what we inherit today, what we enjoy today, is not what we have worked for. It is the sacrifices that our parents made that made St. Lucia a better place for us. You know what our parents used to say? Mavle mamay mwen mize kon mwen mize. Mavle yo souffert manye mwen souffert. And even if they could not read and write, they made sure we went to school. That's why Sir John had to break away from George Charles and the Labour Party to form the United Workers' Party, because St. Lucia was making no progress under Labour. And they built this country. And today, every time we put Labour in office, they are destroying the country. Every time we made 10 strides forward on the UWP, Labour comes in, mashes up everything, and when you come back into government as a UWP, you have to start all over again. I told my political leader, I'm not worried about whether we can win election or not. When I go to bed and I wake up during the night or early in the morning and I'm thinking things over, I don't try to think of how I'm going to win an election. I try to think of how are we going to fix this mess that has been created by the St. Lucia Labour Party. How are we going to get back from GPH our 400 million US dollars that Philip J. Pierre has given away? And now they want to do the same with the airport. We have to think. You have taken a loan from the Saudis and you are wasting $265 million on a derelict building when you have a brand new state-of-the-art building waiting to be utilized. That less than $100 million could have given you a state-of-the-art resilient building. Earthquake and hurricane resilient. So, when UWP gets into government, we still have to pay the Saudis. So, how do you justify that? How do you justify this road that is right a few hundred yards from here? A few hundred yards from here. A road that under the leadership of Alan Michael Chasney, $15 million would have completed that road with a walkover, with lights in the middle, with 4 lanes of road. The Labour Party stopped the road. went and evaluated the price of the contract. Now remember, we gave a fixed price contract for $15 million. So Fresh Start had to finish the fall-ins, put the walkover, put the median barriers, put the lighting and the sidewalks, the 2 roundabouts, and pave the road. And you saw the drains they were putting. All the drains were slabbed. And they had to leave all the manholes and everything so that you could clean the drains in the event they got clogged. All of that for $15 million. And they called it bauble. Well, you know, when they went according to the ministry's rates and evaluated the work that has been done up to how the road is there now, they have to pay Fresh Start $21 million for half the road. That UWP was going to pay $15 million for the complete road, and people call us baubles. So who is making the bauble? I want St. Lucians and St. Lucians. I want the intelligent people who think they know everything. Challenge me on this information. Challenge me on it. Because you see, St. Lucia, the money is coming from Philip J. Pierre or Stevenson King or Richard Frederick to pay that $21 million. Every one of us who are taxpayers in this country, whether you pay tax for your salary or for what you buy, you are paying for that $21 million. And I've heard that they have asked them $20 million to finish the road. A new contractor is asking $20 million to finish the road. So how much is the $15 million road on the Alan Chasney going to cost on the labor? $41 million. So, you think I'm worried about how to win the election? Or how do you fix these things when you get into government? That is the headache. That is the challenge. They stopped the airport project. OECC is gone. In fact, they stopped the St. Jude project. OECC has now signed a contract to build a new hospital in St. Kitts, and it's the same design of St. Jude. Did you hear what I said? Everything that we want. They may not need a helipad in St. Kitts because of the size of St. Kitts. But I'm just telling you, I know for a fact that the contract has been signed for a new hospital. And the same people who are involved in the design of the hospital with us in St. Jude's are the ones doing it in St. Kitts. You see what we are paying for electing Labour Party into office? So you understand why crime is a problem in this country? Everything is a problem. The cost of living is a problem. Children going to school is a problem. Getting a job is a problem. Don't worry about what Labour told you. And I want St. Lucians to understand. I support minimum wage. But not the method of minimum wage implemented by Labour. Because it is putting, you see, all those who are below the minimum wage and they're now at minimum wage, I support that 100%. But what about those who are above minimum wage, that they are dismissing them from the jobs and employing new people at minimum wage? So, I had a laborer working for me, I pay him $80 a day. If I don't use my good conscience, I can simply say, your services are no longer needed. I will employ somebody on the minimum wage and pay $52 a day. You remember when laborers were getting $60 and $70 a day for construction? Labour Party came to Parliament on behalf of Reno and gave minimum laborers wage $55. You all don't remember that? I remember. Reno still pas satisfied. So what he did, he went and bring workers from outside. And who's building St. Jude? And all St. Lucians are quiet. 300 foreign employees. How did they get work permits? Now let me tell you how people get work permit. You have to advertise that you're looking for workers. So when Reno tried to pull a fast one by telling our political leader he's looking for 300 workers. Person Bible travail by Reno. Now I've always said I have a responsibility. So I will not say what the people are telling me, but Reno know why people don't want to work for him. Okay? Now, if you need 300 workers outside of St. Lucia, why didn't you take the 300 people that you already bring in from outside and put them on the outside job? Why you want to displace 300 St. Lucians from their wife, their girlfriend, their family, their loved ones, and send them overseas and take people from overseas and bring them here? That making sense? Now let me tell you, Reno did not do that by himself. The government is the facilitator of this happening. Who issues work permits? You understand what is happening? So, and Labour Party has a track record. You remember what happened to the Lombards University? And what happened to the students? Now I want to tell you something. And I want to give the people, the young people of St. Lucia, I want to give you the assurance. While I was in government, we were in the process of starting an operating school for heavy equipment. Identify a piece of land, buy a certain, the investors would buy, and local investors. Because it's one thing, they can accuse Guy Joseph of everything they want. Everything Guy Joseph has done, he has pushed local people forward. My ministry, economic development, ran 113 projects. All went out for tender. And every single one of them was won by a local contractor. You know what Labour Party said? We made bubble. That's why it's only local contractors that get the job. Because some of their Chinese friends were tendering and they didn't get the job. And they couldn't understand why their Chinese friends didn't get the job. You know what they did? They reported us to the World Bank. And they had the World Bank come and carry out an investigation in St. Lucia. And they investigated a consultant that did not even get the job. Did you hear me? They said there was a bubble with a consultant, but the consultant tender was not accepted and he didn't get the job. You see what I'm saying to you? Labour Party perpetuates crime. They facilitate crime. And they push people in the direction of committing crime. So, I want to tell you, Under a UWP government, we are going to train equipment operators. We are going to train truck drivers. We are going to train plumbers, masons, carpenters. We are going to train tilers. We are going to train masons. We will give our young men who are involved in crime an opportunity to be gainfully employed. We are going to strengthen the apprenticeship program to place these young people, whether they have been to Bodiley or boys training school or wherever they are. The state has a responsibility to help rehabilitate our young men. And unless a government takes this matter serious, we are in trouble. And I'm not just speaking, my political leader is here. We had negotiated $6 million from the European Union. And that money was approved and the Labour Party received that money. That money was to be used for training programs throughout the length and breadth of St. Lucia. And I can tell you in Odsa, the Odsa Community Center we built was outfitted with a proper kitchen because we were going to be training people in the culinary arts at that place there to cook and to bake and to do different things. And then you would have a major restaurant for catering right there in Odsa. And that was to be financed through that money we had raised from the EU. We don't know what has happened. In fact, the last inquiry that I made was that we were on the verge of losing some of that money. Grant money, you know, not a loan. Because the government could not utilize the money within the time frame. Can you believe that? So I know that UWP has a clear plan. We need to train more nurses. There's a demand for nurses globally. And most of our qualified nurses are living in St. Lucia. But that should not be a problem if we had trained sufficient nurses over the years. And we have the ability to do so. I will close on this point. When a government as clueless as the Labour Party will decide to make a former politician the head of OKEU, Damian Greaves, to head CEO of OKEU. Now let me tell you something. Because a man has a PhD, hospital administration is a special skill. So Labour Party is politicizing every major institution in this country. So can you imagine if I fall sick, or the leader of the opposition falls sick, or my colleague Dominic or Spider, if one of us falls sick and we have to go, and is Damian Greaves that in charge of the hospital we're in? People, do not underestimate this thing, you know. There are certain things that you do not put in the hands of politicians. And our healthcare, already you have a minister of health who is a disaster. And Damian himself, was he minister of health at one time? He was a big disaster. Health never got better under him. Now, so because he was teaching at a university, you take him and you want to put him in charge of our hospital? A hospital with so many problems? St. Lucia, I am calling upon you as I close. We have to save our country. This country does not belong to Philip J. Pierre and the St. Lucia Labour Party. This country belongs to all of us. Let us do what it takes to save our country from the ruin that it is being brought into by the St. Lucia Labour Party. I thank you and good night.